Time value of money. We might have heard the concept before, but what does this mean and why is it so important for small business owners to both understand and embrace the concept of time value of money? In today's video, we'll be talking through these concepts and hopefully driving home the point of why it's always better to act on, contracts and deals that are in front of you today as opposed to tomorrow. For those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Pamela Metani. I'm the founder and principal lawyer here at Graphene Business Law, where our slogan is all business all the time. We're a law firm serving clients virtually and across Ontario, and we work exclusively with business owners and entrepreneurs. And of course, on our YouTube channel, we post content multiple times a week that is most relevant to you as a business owner and an entrepreneur. So if you're new to the channel, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, and of course, don't forget to subscribe. Now, what prompted this video? I was actually consuming YouTube myself a few days ago with looking at the video of one of the sons of a pretty well-known real estate mogul, and he was sort of an interview of him and business ideas that he had found had most made his biggest impact with him during his time in business and learning from his dad and so on and so forth. And one thing he said is that my dad always taught me, if you're going to take a dollar, take it now. And I thought, what he's referring to is the concept of time value of money. But, he didn't flesh that out anymore. And I thought, well, that's a pretty good opportunity. I could put it out there to my audience and actually work through the concept, okay? So I have some notes here. So if I'm looking down, I'm just reading my notes to, help make this video more helpful for you. So the impact, time value of money is very closely tied to another financial concept called inflation, right? And the impact that inflation has on the time value of money is that it decreases the value of a dollar over time. So if you're clutching onto a dollar today, and there's two ways to look at it. Either if you don't spend it but think you're going to save it, or if you sort of give that dollar back, so to speak, in business terms, whereby you tell your potential business partner, hey, let's strike a deal later for whatever reason, that dollar will be worth less, I want to say every single time, certainly every time from the financial graphs I've looked at, it will be worth less every time at a point in the future. Now, it might not be worth less in a noticeable way tomorrow or a month from now, but when you look at the financial graphs, and I'll put some of them later in this video, when you look at the financials and the inflation graphs and charts and the story they tell is that every time year over year, that dollar is going to be worth less. Why? Why is this happening? Like I mentioned, we have this other concept called inflation, okay? Which, what inflation does, it increases the price of goods and services over time, which in essence directly decreases the value of the same dollar today and the value that that dollar would have, that same dollar would have tomorrow, okay? And what you can buy with that dollar tomorrow. I'm looking down again at my notes. I have a note here that if wages remain the same, but inflation causes the price of goods and services to increase over time, it will take a larger percentage of your income to cover the purchase of those same goods and services. Or, if your income is fixed in a way where you can't really do much about it, you're going to have to be okay with buying less goods and less services. And this is a reality that I don't need to tell you about in terms of real life examples. There are unfortunately all too many of these real life examples, owing to us having lived in COVID years for 3-4 years now, depending on who you ask. And the impacts of COVID financially are going to continue to be around, I believe, for a fairly long time. There's other global events that have happened that, have impacted the value of a dollar, wars, all over the world, price of natural resources and natural resource, amounts and quantities altering. All of these things affect the value of that dollar you hold in your hand today and what it can buy for you tomorrow, okay? Again, in this example, we're assuming that you're not investing money or anything like that. I'm just genuinely talking about a dollar today can buy you a dollar's worth of goods today, but that same dollar a year from now might only buy you 93 cents worth of goods. okay? That's because that interaction of inflation with the time value of money. And if we look at the charts, and I'm just pulling them up right now, and I'll put it up on the screen. I have a chart here for the last 20 years. Graphene Business Law is located in Ontario, and although I've been educated in the US myself and lived in the US for a number of years, for the purpose of this video, I did choose a Bank of Canada graph. And looking at this graph, you see that we're looking at the 0% mark on the graph, and every single year inflation has been greater than 0%. I would venture to say that except for 1 year we see on this map, at the very close to the very beginning of the graph, inflation has been at over 1, over 2, over 3%, okay? And in recent years, reaching as high as almost 7% on this infographic, although there's reports that it has been even over 7% in actuality, okay? One thing I want to point out to those that, maybe, you don't read graphs for fun, it seems like to the naked eye that this graph is going up and down, okay? So maybe you're getting the impression that the inflation is actually positively contributing to your life during years when the graph goes down. But I want to point out again, if we look at the margins, that the thing that the up and down represents is by how much inflation goes up. So in other words, it is going up every single year in this graph, year over year, the percentage change, there is inflation that is happening. There is inflation over 1% almost every single year. But what the ups and downs demonstrate is that 1 year we might have had inflation of, 1.1. 1 year we might have had inflation of 4, 1 year we might have inflation of 6.6. So the 1 will look lower than the 4 in terms of it being, of course, a lower number, but the 1 is still a year where inflation made you poorer by that 1%. Okay, so don't look at the ups and downs as representing like not every year having inflation. Every single year on this chart had positive inflation. And I had looked actually at a graph of the US as well and found that every year since the 50s, there was positive inflation in the US as well. Of course, with numbers just skyrocketing to, levels of insanity in recent years. So, turning the video back on now, what does this mean for you as a small business owner? If there's a contract that you're contemplating when you should enter into that contract, if it should be now or if it should be later, money in your hand now, as the chart we looked at demonstrates, is always going to be worth more than money in your hand later. There's times when it might be worth 1% more, but there's times, recent years, it could be worth 7% more, 10% more, depending on the graphs we looked at. So if you've got business opportunities right now, especially with, the global financial picture, if you will, being so tumultuous, if you have opportunities for business right now, capitalize now. If you have opportunities to, make big deals with clients right now, take that money now. Take it up front. Try to get as much of that money, in deposit structures where it's top heavy, if you will, or beginning heavy. So you're getting most of that money today as opposed to a later point down the road, because later down the road, that money is going to be worth less and less and less to you. If you've contracted for a deal, for example, payable over the term of 2 years, where it is, let's say, 4 equal installments, every 6 months there's money coming. The money you earn today is worth, of course, what it's worth today. The money 6 months from now will be less money, even if the same amount as the first installment, because we said 4 equal installments, so of course it's the same absolute value. It's the same, I should say, dollar amount you're looking at, but in relation to the money you earned on that first installment, it is less. And the money you earn, at the 1 year mark is less, and the 1.5 year mark less, and the 2 year mark less. So if you are working on these agreements for deals that are, substantial, have the potential to substantially benefit your business, consider, reaching out to a lawyer. We can help you strike an agreement whereby, like I said, the agreements are top heavy, if you will, or they're beginning heavy, and you're cashing out the most you can today, okay? Because every single time, at the chart we just looked at the chart I looked at in the US for decades on end, decades, of course, looking at past numbers. I can't look at, published decades of future numbers, but for decades and decades, the story is that $1 today is worth more than that same dollar tomorrow, okay? So I wanted to put this video out there. I'm just going back to my notes now to see if I missed anything. Okay, seems good. I wanted to put this video out there because it's really an important term. Sometimes I see so many business owners that are new to being in business that they're just excited to know that somebody wants to make a deal with them, and the terms get pressured in a way whereby payment is deferred or comes at a later date, sometimes coming, years down the line. But you take comfort in the contract that you have and you start pumping out your product, and again, you're so excited you have somebody to work with that wants your goods and services. Take the money today and take as much money as you can today, okay? That's how you max out on your understanding of time value of money. Thank you for watching this video. If this video was helpful to you at all, please feel free and let us know in the comments, or if there are other financial concepts that you're struggling with as a small business owner, please let us know in the comments, and we'll make a video on it and we'll help you understand. And if you need help understanding, chances are that literally millions of other business owners need help worldwide understanding the same exact concept, okay? So thank you for watching. Again, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, click on the subscribe button down below, and let us know in the comments what financial concept you'd like us to talk about next, what concept of running a small business you'd like us to talk about next. Thanks again for watching.